Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Banking Bytes. This is episode 5 or 4, Matt?
5. Number 5.
5. Okay. So I do have my adult friend with me, Matt, the big brain on the show, Fred Fuller here. Matt, how you doing, man?
Very good, thank you. It's been quite a hectic few weeks, a lot of conference trail again, but also lots of innovation workshops with some real global banks, which has been fascinating. I'm really excited to have Denise here. For forewarning, Denise and I have met a few times and spent some time together, which is why I'm really excited. I'm not going to steal her thunder because there's a lot to share on her side and the journey that her co-founders and company have been on. And actually, we'll talk more about this over this side, but we often underestimate what it takes to run a company, to build a company, to start something, but then add in not being male. Let's call it how it is, not being a middle-aged white male. It amplifies that exponentially. So this is a really interesting perspective that we're going to get here, and I'm really excited to get into it. And also, as you said, Fred, you get this wrong, Denise is going to hold you accountable.
Yeah, so let me give a proper introduction with all the respect I can muster for Denise Johansson, who is the co-founder and co-CEO of Enfuce. So I'm not going to do the thing. I'm going to do what I normally do, which is allow our guests to introduce themselves. But we're incredibly excited to have you here, Denise. And if you don't mind, just sharing a little bit with the folks about who you are and about Enfuce, and then we can jump in.
Yes, let's see where we get this podcast, because I can start by saying that we are starting off a bit low because you invited my co-founder, co-CEO before me. So you've already shown me the colors here, but I'm going to try to be smiling and keep happy throughout the episode. Jokes aside, I'm really happy to be here, and I've listened to your shows, and I like the fact that you are not too scripted and that you can take the conversations in whatever direction we will go, and hopefully we can bring something to the listeners as well. So yes, co-founder, co-CEO of Enfuce since 2016. So we are heading towards our 9 years anniversary by now. And Enfuce issuer processing, where we have mixed it up with some EMI licenses and scheme memberships as well, so that we can provide full card as a service propositions throughout Europe and UK. And we have client base across whole of Europe and UK, even though we are Finnish born, so from the Nordic roots.
I want to add to this, Fred. I got corrected heavily, and Denise can attest to this, recently at an event that Enfuce held, where I kept saying sauna. Finnish thing, you go for a sauna. I prefer a steam room personally, but sauna. And Monica, Denise's co-founder, co-CEO, corrected me to such a point that if I get it wrong again, we're in real trouble. So sauna is the pronunciation I have to use in earshot of Monica.
Yes.
Sauna. This is, oh my gosh, this is so full circle. So this is so off topic, and I love it so much. My wife, this is so crazy. My wife's name is Sona. She spells it Sonia, and the I is silent. And so when I always have to say like a sauna, like a steam room, right? But now knowing that the pronunciation is sauna, I have to come up with a whole new thing. Like this is a mind blow at 50 some odd years, whatever, at my young age.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what you learn on this show or listening to this podcast goes so far beyond like banking, right? Like that, yeah. So we're gonna jump in here real quick. We're gonna talk about the power of partnerships today. And we have a really interesting and unique angle on this. We talked about it a little bit leading up to the recording here, and I love it because it's such a fresh perspective. So, Enfuce is an organization co-founded by two females in a male-dominated world industry space, and when we talk about partnerships, we often immediately go to partnerships in the form of an organization to one organization to another, especially in the world that we live in. Partnerships are critical. They're everything. But it's also very important to understand what really makes partnerships effective, right? And so, Denise, if you don't mind talking a little bit about, how this came to be, and just walk us through the journey a little bit, I think it'd be great and educational, because people want to know about those journeys, and they want to hear about the resolve of individuals that actually are successful on these paths.
Yes. Oh, I think if we go back to where you started there with us being female founded and not males, when we 9 years back decided that let's go for it, we didn't realize how rare space it will be for two females to found a fintech and to be running a fintech, because for us, we didn't know anything else. But it did get pointed out to us very early on. It was our first newspaper interview where this middle-aged white man came to us and say, you are doing it all wrong, but somehow you are succeeding. And we were like, okay, what are we doing wrong? Well, you are born wrong. And then it was, okay, yes. So we were females 35 plus going into founding a fintech. And the norm is male 20 plus. So yes, we do stand out. But I think that is probably both the blessing and the curse for us throughout the journey. Because 35 plus, you've lived a bit, you know what it takes. And by the time we decided to go for it, we knew that it will be the power of partnership that can make it or break it for us. It's not just the two of us who can do this on our own. It's a powerful industry. It's a massive industry. So we need to find the right partners to accelerate the growth with. And it started off actually before we even got to build the platform that we today are serving our customers with, just looking to transform payment processing to the public cloud. Mm-hmm. Because yes, 9 years back, no one had yet done it. So we were the first to put payment processing into the public cloud. And already there we knew that we are looking for a powerful partnership. Who can empower us? Who can enable us with this? And who can also gain? Because in a true partnership, there's always a win-win situation. If you are just looking to utilize someone else, then it probably won't be a long-term sustainable partnership. But if it's a win-win, both sides or all sides will be winners, and therefore it makes sense, and therefore you will continue to grow and find success together throughout the years. So we partnered up with AWS. We're the leading cloud provider, but who also really wanted the whole financial industry to be moving to the public cloud. So of course they could gain by having someone bold setting up the infrastructure for the first time, getting it approved by the financial authorities, getting all the right certificates, PCI, DSS, etc., to be utilizing their services. So even though we were just a newly founded fintech, we found a win-win situation with them. And that's pretty much since day one how we have been building the company. Power of partnerships. And it comes in all forms with our customers. We don't call them customers, we call them partners, because actually we won't succeed unless they succeed. So the whole business model is built in a way that when we empower them to succeed, and when they succeed, that's when we also get well paid and will grow the top line as well, together with them when they are growing.
Well, that's really that's an interesting point as well, Denise. Is the whole, as organisations, as businesses, we have to make money. Now that doesn't have to be, the subject, the topic that stays hidden to one side. Because if you're not profitable, you can't invest. You can't invest in everyone else's success. You can't invest in people, process, R&D, all those things. So I completely agree in that equitable relationship with partners. I'm sure we've been building an ecosystem over the last few years as Endava, and part of our challenge, and I'm sure you're going to reflect this, is finding the right partner. And sometimes it can be technically they could be the right partner, but one of our challenges has often been is, do the values fit? Do the people fit? Is this going to be a long-term thing or a short-term thing? And sometimes even almost being honest enough to recognize that this is going to be a short-term partnership because it's equitable for certain specific reasons, but it's not going to be a long-term one because the cultures just don't align. So I'm curious on your thoughts on that.
100%. It's still, even though a business case looks solid on paper, you need so much more for it to reach its full potential. And that comes down to the people, to the cultures. So we've done it wrong as well. Don't get me wrong. Nothing comes easy at you. And I think you will have to do it wrong sometimes to find out what's really working and what you are looking for. But yeah, I think getting the sense of who are behind the company, what is the true mission for that company? What do you really want to be bringing to the industry? What's your values? And are the people representing that brand bringing that through in conversations? And when you find the genuine people who are working for genuine companies, and it can be a big, massive corporate, or it can be a very small, agile company, you still need to power those values in your everyday conversations to be building then something really great when it comes to partnership relations.
Definitely.
Denise, what inspires you? What drives you? You talk about you've got so many things here that fascinate me. So it's funny because one of the things that we talked about is in this Banking Bytes podcast, Matt and I, haven't spent the time to share some of our stories with our listeners, and we need to do that, right? But it's weird to sit down and do an episode where you talk about yourself for 30 minutes. But in part of sharing who we are, I'm a military veteran. When I graduated high school, I wasn't sure where I was going to go or what I was going to do. So I went into the Navy and I went into SEAL training. And I got injured. I did not complete it. I did not become a Navy SEAL, for the record, right? But what's the reason I'm bringing that up is because you take what is hard already, and then you double down on making it harder. So you get two females, breaking molds in a male-dominated space. You are then you're going to do something completely innovative that hasn't been done before, which is take a piece of the payments ecosystem and put it into the cloud. You couldn't have created a bigger hill for yourself. That comes from someplace. What is it?
Very good question. I don't think I've done enough therapy to really figure that out yet. Someday I will. No, but I think it comes down to personalities. And like me and my co-founder, we are so different in many, many ways, but there are things where we are so alike as well. And our upbringings are fairly similar. We didn't have it too easy growing up, nothing like really bad either, but we kind of had to figure out our own paths in life. And I never chose the easy way. Even as a child, I always challenged. If someone told me what to do and how to do it, I definitely didn't do it. So the right way with me and my husband have had to learn it the hard way is definitely not to tell me what and how. It's about letting me figure things out myself. So I do think that personality within me to never settle for anything easy, to always try to get something that looks difficult, to find easier way to do it, and then just proving myself like I can do it. You say I can't, then I will definitely prove you wrong. So I think that comes in there. But then I had a slippery slope into the financial industry. I wanted to be a police growing up. I was too short for that. So I couldn't. Okay, what do you do when you can't do what you really want to do? Well, you go and study numbers, economics, because everyone tells you that you can become rich if you know your numbers. So I just went into university to study economics without any knowledge what I wanted to do. And graduating, the only thing I knew was that I didn't want to work with numbers. Like, it was boring. So by my language skills, I just got a trainee position at the bank. And that trainee position turned then into them asking if I could take some project gigs, because they were really old school and they figured out that I'm never saying, let's do it how you've always done it. I will always challenge them on ways of doing. So they got this 20-something year old in and telling all the old ladies how not to do things, because there are better ways and there is digitalization and I know better. But I guess that was what they needed. So I just stayed on. And then at some point I moved to the tech side. And then at some point I met my co-founder and we started to challenge things together. So going for what we've built, we never saw it as something impossible. We were unsettled where we were working back then. We didn't think that the decision makers were making the right decisions. They didn't invest in our ideas. That's the wrong decision. Mm-hmm. So then we said that if they are not going to do it, let's do it. Sorry, not swearing. Beep, let's do it. So yeah, so it was, and of course we knew that like it won't be easy, but we really never saw it as an alternative to fail. So of course there are always ways to do things, and that I think is like one big learnings, and what I'm trying to pass on to my own children is that like tech will never be the obstacle for you. So if you have an idea, you will be able to sort it out. You might have to rethink. So maybe if you have sorted out the whole path, maybe it won't go exactly like that, but you will be able to achieve things with tech. And that's kind of fascinating. So I never studied anything tech, but I am fascinated about it. And today, I mean, I do love numbers as well. So I did grow into the numbers bit again after university as well.
You grew to love the numbers. That should probably be the quote.
Yes.
I grew to love the numbers.
Oh, I detested them for so long. Yes.
Go ahead, Fred. Go for it.
No, you please.
So something I'm curious about, because I think a lot our audience, and just in general, our audience is growing. It's not huge, but it's getting there. But Denise, and it's not to labour on the point, but we also have to. You are a co-CEO with 50% responsibility. Now, I think if we're realistic in the world of business, in any business, any division, any vertical, that is highly unusual. Highly unusual just to start, but secondary to be successful, even more unusual. So I'm curious, how does that work? And I don't mean day-to-day spill all of the secrets necessarily, but obviously there are going to be conflicts, there are going to be disagreements on direction of travel, etc. Now, traditionally in the male environment, that almost turns into ego and not wanting to lose face, that kind of thing. So this is a very long question I'm getting around to, but it's how do you and Monica manage that between you?
So first of all, I don't think it's ever 50-50. There are days when she has 80% of the power and I'm 20. And then there are days where I have 80 and she's 20. Because life happens while you are building a company. But for all the big items, like as I said, I learned to love the numbers again, and I am much more into the numbers, and I'm much more into business case, proposition, dealing customers, like interactions, how to build those processes. And Monica is much more into tech, and like, I mean, she's even been a developer herself, so tech comes very easy for her. And I think there you already have some form of split. If we were to have a conflict, if it's tech based, Monica will make the decision because she will be making the better decision that I will, because she's much better informed. Once again, if it's something that can be numbers driven decision, so a business decision on where to go or how to form the proposition or anything, then she will trust me because she know that I'm much more into the details with the numbers, and that's my game again. So, and then it's never 50-50 because tech and numbers, it's not an everyday equation that you will have to do 50-50. But yeah, so, but of course it's built on 100% trust. I wouldn't have done this with my husband, and not that I'm not trusting him, but I think we again know each other way too well. And I think it's the same with your best friend. I wouldn't recommend anyone to found a business with your best friend, at least if it's going to be hard and you are going to do new things all the time. But me and Monica, we knew each other only from business side, and we had been working nearly 10 years when we decided to start the business together. And in business, we had found this perfect partnership, and where she compliments me and I'm complimenting her. So it comes down to ambitious and trust. Both wanted to do something no one else have done. We wanted to build something, leave a legacy behind. Like, people should know about Enfuce the day when we decide to retire. And then the trust. I know she will be making the right decision for the company, even though I might not understand full details. And I know I have her back as well.
You used the word that I'd written down actually while you were saying this, or a version of the word, and it was the fact that it's complementary.
Yes.
And that's the key. And you're right. I was being very binary with the numbers in the 50-50, but you're right. It's more of a pendulum where it swings between, moving into where your sphere of expertise and knowledge, and therefore obviously the denominator is to go with that person's knowledge because they're the one who can make the better decision. So yeah, I think that's really, really interesting. Fred, I'll hijack this if we're not careful. So I'm going to give you some airspace.
I'm listening. I'm a fan. It's a great conversation. So you've got me captivated. Trust is the word that jumps off the page. So in a really shameless plug, I have written a book on account management, and it all boils down to that. It all boils down to trust, right? And account management is about building relationships, and so you can plug in whatever word around relationships, partnerships, right? But it is about the mutual respect. It is about a win-win. It is about long-term, and you don't get to any of those things without trust. That's got to be the foundation, or else you're just wasting your time spinning your wheels. So I think that is you bring up a great point, Denise. I trust my wife. I don't want to work with her because she would outpace me is the whole thing, right? Like, it would be embarrassing because then everybody would see like the real muscle behind the machine, and I can't have that. I need my illusions to live with. So trust is everything. Ambitious, right? I've been writing down these keywords, bold, right? I just think, man, you double down. You don't just go into a difficult space, but you're doing difficult things in a difficult space. So I love the way that all these things come together. I also love the storyline at the beginning of we were doing something different, and you were pioneers. And so then you needed a partner that you could build something different with. and then you went out and you found those partnerships and you built that support system, that ecosystem of support around you to make you successful. And I think that there is this formula, there's an unwritten, unspoken formula to success. So prior to this, I was with a company called Cardlytics, and I was employee number 50 all the way through IPO. So I got to see the puts and takes and the things that go along as you go through this process. And building your vision of the future is almost something that you have to do. You can't be told no. If you're told no, to your point, you dig in, you double down. This is all just really, really fascinating stuff. And I hope I'll ask you one more question. And Matt, if you have other questions, we're getting kind of close on time. So I would love to ask you one more question. And that is, I asked you earlier, what inspires you? The question, who? If you have to hold up one person that you say, this is the person that when they do the great summary, this is who I want to be compared to, who is that?
And that is Birgit Skarstein. And that it has nothing to do with the business I'm within. So I actually realized maybe 1.5 years ago that I've never been like truly inspired by anyone. So I'm admiring many for what they are doing, and I'm impressed by a lot of people and their achievements. But I hadn't found like true inspiration to become better myself. And then I met this Paralympic Norwegian woman, Birgit, and she told me her life story. And since I heard that, there are so many times when I've been going down in a rabbit hole, thinking negative thoughts or like not finding an alternative way forward. And then her story pops into mind and I'm like, so what would Birgit have done? And then I totally just twist my mind around and I find a new way to think. And I realized that this is true inspiration. Like when you really want to change an existing behavior, you want to change your own way of dealing with problems, that is true inspiration. And so to then maybe get to another point around this, Birgit, is that now, 1.5 years later, we've just announced that we've hired Birgit to become Enfuce's Chief Inspirational Officer. And what is that title? Well, no one have used it before. And it's not for her to come in and be a mood manager at the company, because that we don't need. But Fred, you said it yourself, you were employee 50 and you were part of the company all the way through IPO. So you know that it's not always easy to be at a scale up. It takes massive from all your employees to be part of the journey. And we've struggled with that because the employees, they give so much to us. But how do we keep them fired up? How do we keep them to just push through once more? It will get easier. It never gets easier. Don't get fooled. But anyway, so after listening to Birgit and also sharing that experience with the employees at Enfuce, everyone got as inspired as I got. And then I just knew that we will have to find a way to give this inspiration to all our employees continuously. Because if we think it's been hard over the last 9 years, well, it won't get easier. As said, it will always keep demanding of everyone working for the company. And what can we do to help them finding the inner grit, finding the resilience, finding new way of thinking when things are not working as they should be. So yeah, we teamed up, partnered up with Birgit, and I'm so much looking forward this partnership with her and all the inspiration she can bring, not only me, but the whole of Enfuce. and the industry, because of course we want to share this inspiration also with partners. And we just recently, she were participating at a partner event, and also the partners there, Matt, one of them, got inspired. So I think once you've met her, you don't question what is a chief inspiration officer anymore, but you might do when you just hear the title.
Yeah, I'm completely in support, Denise, of everything you've said. I was very fortunate to spend some time and meet with her. And yeah, the name's in the title, and once you've met her, you completely understand. And on that note, what I'm going to do, my commitment off the back of this podcast is I'm actually going to tag her details and her bio page onto the podcast, because I don't want to spoil it for everyone. I think they should just go and read it, because we could do little snapshots and it wouldn't do her justice.
No.
So I don't want to steal the thunder of that. So that's my commitment. We'll pop that in on there. We are going to come to wrap up. What I am going to say is, ironically, I've gone really red in the face, if you can see me on camera, because in the UK, there's a little bit of a heat wave, and the heat has just hit my office. And for some strange reason, the heating has come on in my house as well. So I'm currently sat in a 2 meter by 2 meter room that's become a sauna. Which is why my face is so red. So that explains that. So look, I think what I'd like to wrap up in summary with you, Denise, as well, is I've co-founded a company. Something you called up on earlier. You know, I did co-found a company with a friend. It didn't work. There were lots of varying reasons. One of those is it was just too early, and I think you talked about the resilience, the hardness. Mm-hmm. For us, it was 2 years too early. Now, fortunately, we've managed to retain that friendship. It took a bit. I'd say if we were both really, really honest, and perhaps we just didn't speak for a while we needed distance without necessarily saying it, but we're all good now. But it takes a lot of effort. So my final question in wrapping up, I know you talked about Birgit, etc. How do you retain your resilience? Because you have your partnership with Monica and the partners internally in the company, etc. And as you said, the pendulum swings, like maybe it's 80% Monica, 20% you, and vice versa. But how do you maintain that resilience? Because it's great you've had your Series C and the follow-on, etc. And they're the headlines everyone reaches. Oh, there's all this money being thrown around and the PR. But at the end of the day, you're just a person like everyone else, and we all have imposter syndrome, etc. So long-winded question: how do you manage the resilience piece?
It's twofolded. One is that I'm doing it together with Monica. I wouldn't have done this journey without her. Just because the highs wouldn't have been as high, the low wouldn't have been as comforting as doing it with someone else. So I would never found anything by myself. So she is one part that I have it. And the other part is my family. Because already founding the company, I had 2 amazing children and a husband who've stayed with me through so many years already before Enfuce. And they really ground me. And that's an amazing thing when you can be so busy at work and you can, be raising 40, 60, 80 millions in money at work and be high on life on yourself. But then when you get home, I'm just a mom. Like, they don't treat me any differently. They will ask me to do the laundry, to do the cleaning of their rooms. Like, I'm doing what everyone else is doing. But I am actually loving it because it's such a big contrast to what I'm doing sitting at my desk every day. So without them, I would probably have worked myself to death by now. But they are grounding me and they are keeping me honest to my core values every day of the week. And that's a blessing as well. So twofold.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for sharing, because I know there is still this myth perpetuated out there by super successful, especially the C-suite, that they've got it all sorted and everything's running and they just bounce from one thing to the other. And it's so easy and on the surface it looks so fantastic. And we all know, unfortunately, it's becoming more prevalent that it's not that case. And it's okay that you have more challenging days and other days are more successful, but actually you can get through all of it together with partnerships fundamentally.
Yes.
Awesome. Monica, thank you so much.
Denise.
Oh,
Denise, you did, and we have it recorded.
We have it recorded
I've actually got a way out of this, Denise. I've
You
gone
have?
way back. I have.
Hmm?
It looked,
I'm eager to hear.
I know.
Yeah.
I knew you were. I could see by the way you leant forward. Right at the beginning, you said you were annoyed because Monica got the first podcast. Now, Monica was on the Established Payments podcast with Scott, who's our Chief Strategy Officer, Scott Harkey. You're on the Cool Kids Banking Bytes podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Check. Yes.
So,
I'm
do
with you.
you see what I did there?
But it wasn't a bounce back from you calling me Monica, though.
Oh,
So,
Okay. So, hey, everybody. And this is a great episode. Matt, you're on your own after we hang up.
Thank you.
Listen, this has been an incredible conversation. I say it when I post these things on LinkedIn. I say how lucky we are to get to talk and meet people from around the world and meet people that are successful in a way that, is very admirable and respectable. Denise, Matt, that's a great question, right? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you going? And one of the things that I think about in my role is if I look at my responsibility and the amount of, revenue that my team is responsible to generate, that accounts for X percentage of our workforce. So while it's great to go and get the big win and celebrate it and buy the boat or whatever it is that salespeople do, the responsibility is so much greater than that, right? And when companies go into struggles and everybody, oh, this is horrible, this stinks, like we're the team that owns this. We're the team that is responsible for keeping our friends and employed, right? Like those things inspire, and I know that they inspire you as well, Denise, because you don't do something like this if you don't have really a kind of a higher level sort of focus on things. You don't take on these challenges. So a great conversation. I absolutely love it. Denise, thank you so very much for joining us today. And I'm going to leave you with one last thought, a reflection of something you said. It never gets easier. It never gets any easier. When I was in SEAL training, the big saying there is the only easy day was yesterday.
yeah.
And you quickly learn that is real. That is a super real mantra, and you embrace it all these years later. The only easy day was yesterday. If you want easy, you don't get it here. So again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
For Matt Williamson, I'm Fred Fuller, and thank you for listening to Banking Bytes.
Awesome.